Bacteria itself do not do anything. So, and the fact
but
that
that didn't really respond to the question. It's not really responding to it.
Yeah, so the reason why it is, I told you, the reason why it is actually doing it is because it's trying to detoxify, which is being labeled as disease causing. It's not causing any disease by itself. It's
okay, so
actually
then
detoxifying.
is your belief okay? Then is your belief that these bacteria that they call disease causing, whether they cause severe skin rashes or diarrhea or all these different things, you're claiming that all of those are not actually disease causing things, but they're actually some kind of almost like a medicine or like an activator of detox. Like, okay, so when you drink ayahuasca, for example, the plant medicine, it will detoxify your body. It is like an activator of detox. Are you suggesting that these bacteria that are these disease causing things, are you suggesting that they are all like little gifts or little kind of helpers that literally just come in and everyone it runs through, it just gives you like tons of vomiting and diarrhea, to quote unquote detoxify you? Like, are you saying they're all like, activating agents to help us? Is this
The reason why the reason why that is happening is because you're getting intoxicated all the time. Right now, you're speaking with me, you're getting intoxicated by EMFs. Do you know that? And the food that you eat is actually adulterated. The water that you drink is fluoridated.
No,
All
it's
the things
not.
are
I don't drink fluoride, but I know you're just talking in general.
No, I'm just saying. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, maybe not. You're aware of it, but all the things you cannot escape intoxication these days. You're getting intoxicated all the time. So when the bacteria actually enters your body, it tries to remove the toxins, which are already accumulated inside your body. So if you don't do that, what would happen is after a certain point of time, you'll get cancer or some deadly disease, which would eventually, which is actually building up right now. So
okay, so then what is
reason.
it about this? Well, bacteria can kill you. So what is it about this one bacteria that could either kill you or cause tremendous? Are you suggesting that this thing is going in and okay, so like for example, people take detoxification like supplements, they take amino acids, etc. And the idea for those things is to try to activate detoxification, right? Like you try to get things flowing. Like for example, milk thistle is really good for the liver and it helps rebuild liver cells. So people that are detoxifying would take milk thistle seeds, things like this. So these are things that are activators and helpers. Are you suggesting that all of these disease-causing bacteria are actually like those? That they're just helping? They're just these wonderful things that are just giving you a nice boost by making you vomit and diarrhea for a week and maybe kill you?
Gio, I don't believe that they cause disease in the first place. Disease is not because of them. That's what I'm trying to say. There's no evidence that they are the ones who are causing disease.
Okay, but the effects happen.
They call the acute process where what you're calling detoxification. They call that a disease-like state because you're inflamed.
Yeah, but they are not the ones who are causing the problem. Yeah, I know that, but they are not the ones who are causing the problem. They are actually detoxifying the problem that already exists. And if you don't do that, well, it would be too late after a certain point. And
well, that's why I'm asking. So again, in my example, like if you in a laboratory they culture one very specific type of bacteria, it's done as cleanly as possible, and then that's the only thing you're adding to your system. Are you suggesting that disease causing or that thing that they, like you said, like Percentage said, that they call a disease in the mainstream, as it were, you're claiming that that's literally like a detoxification activator that is helping you?
Yes, that's what he's saying.
Yeah, exactly. That is exactly what it's doing. Because you're already intoxicated by something. You're not 100% healthy if you're actually taking it in. And, it's not bacteria which causes the disease. How can one bacteria?
I guess I would just say I strongly disagree. I mean, in my own experience as well. I disagree for many reasons, and one of them is my own experience. But for example, I've done ayahuasca many, many times. I've vomited. I have had that experience, and it is it's a plant. It's a mixture of it's a brew.
Is there bacteria in it?
Plants have bacteria in them.
No, it's not.
In them as well.
No, because first of all, you're interrupting. Did you want to go? You're just interrupting nonstop. So we gotta go one at a time.
Let him finish.
Yeah. So I was just trying to bring it in to say. Okay, I was just trying to bring it in to say that I have consumed something like ayahuasca, which has caused purging, and I'm saying I've experienced that directly and am very aware of how that felt, how it was in terms of the toxins. That is a detoxification agent. That is a medicine and an activator of detoxifying the body in a very potent way. That is very, very different than like another example. One of the bad ones I mentioned, Giardia, because I got Giardia.
How do you know it's like it's a detoxer?
Well, see, I mentioned the ayahuasca. It is a whole topic in and of itself, though. That's a deeper question. I mean, uh, should we go
No, I
down
mean
that route,
it's like
or I
the
mean, that's
crux
a
of this whole thing because you're saying that you're not sick, and then you consume this bacteria and it makes you sick, and then after a while you develop an immunity. So if you consume it again, you're not going to be sick because you have immunity. He's saying the observation is the exact same, by the way. He's saying you're already sick, like you have these toxins in your body. You consume this bacteria, it kickstarts this detox and makes you like sick temporarily as it's detoxing you. And then if you consume it later after a few weeks or whatever, you're not going to get sick because there's nothing to detox. It's already done its job. It's the same exact thing in terms of the observation. One saying like that the intoxicant or whatever is already in your body. One saying that the bacteria is the intoxicant. You're saying now that with ayahuasca there is a purging process, and you are detoxing. This thing cleans it up. And I'm asking you, how do you know that? Do you feel better after taking it?
Because yeah, exactly,
right.
exactly.
That
Because bacteria does it
oh
as
man,
well.
I thought maybe he was asking
I'm
me.
just,
Mhm.
Okay,
yeah,
wait.
you go ahead.
Well, okay, so I mean, you're okay with ayahuasca. I would say first of all, like there's people who have various health issues. They would do ayahuasca. There would be an acute version of perhaps purging, like either vomiting or diarrhea as well could happen, or sweating. Sweating can be another way that it can be released as well. And then, yeah, like to answer your question with that percentage, like yes, afterwards they have like an improvement in their symptomology, like and sometimes like of like lifelong issues that they had, like maybe digestive issues or skin issues or things like that. So
Okay, well,
um,
how do you know? How do you know that the ayahuasca isn't actually like a bacterial thing that's causing the person to be sick, and then they just develop
Exactly. That
immunity
is
to
what
it
I'm
afterwards?
wanted to say.
Okay, so one reason that can know that is that not everybody purges. In fact, so for example, somebody when they first start doing ayahuasca, let's say like the first 10 times, they may purge and then they won't purge after that. Like session 11, 12, 13, 14, etc. They won't have any purging. It's like this, it's like they got the toxins out they needed. A lot of people, not everybody purges in general as well. So if it was just a toxin, like if you gave everyone, a gallon of bleach, everyone's going to be sick, if they all drink that. I mean, they're going to, you know what I'm saying? So that's one way to know is that not everybody purges, and it seems to regulate that purge process when there needs to be a detoxification effect.
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
also,
that's equivocal because you could just have immunity to whatever like causative agent is in the ayahuasca. You could just have immunity, and that's why you're not purging because you're already immune to it. I mean, to
I mean,
compare that
okay,
with
I
like
understand
bleach,
that.
bleach
Yeah,
is gonna like that's there's no immunity to drinking a liter of bleach or what have you. So
right. No, I
it's kind of a false
understand.
analogy.
Well, wait, what do you mean? Now I'm lost in what you're saying. How is it a false
I'm
analogy?
saying you because you compared it with if everyone drank bleach, then they'd all get sick or whatever. But yeah, that's because bleach is, you know, there's no immunity to it. If you drink a gallon of bleach, it's a poison. You're gonna like there's no way that the body can defend against that. You know, it's like this artificial concentrated thing that'll definitely cause damage.
Right,
So
but I
it's
mean, technically, if somebody wanted to question ayahuasca, for example, they could say that it's like a toxin, like bleach, if they wanted. Like
exactly.
you're suggesting there's bacteria in it. First of all, I mean, ayahuasca when it's brewed is cooked at very high temperatures for many, many hours. So in terms of there being bacteria in it, I mean, it is boiled and boiled and boiled for many, many hours at extremely high temperatures. So unless you think bacteria can survive that, it would, if just from that level would not have any in
No, I'm
it.
not saying that, and this is maybe where the analogy
Tribes
falls
across
apart.
the world. No, wait a minute.
This,
Tribes across the world, use. Wait a minute. Tribes across the world use these herbs and everything without cooking it that much, and that is how they heal themselves, and that actually works. So there is bacteria in them. Those plants and herbs and all these other things that actually helps in healing diseases. Natural methods, alternative medicine. Well, that is what I'm talking about.
I was
Yeah,
gonna
yeah,
say,
yeah. There can be. Yep, there can be certain
Yeah. So
beneficial
bacteria is
or different things.
responsible there as well. Bacteria is there as well, responsible for it. They're everywhere
Yeah,
in our
there are
natural.
there are beneficial bacteria and there are detrimental ones. So
But
yeah,
how do
those.
you know that they're beneficial and non-beneficial? There are bacteria the same. They're not different. They're basically helpful all the time. You
No,
cannot
you could say they're
distinguish.
beneficial and non-beneficial depending on where they are, depending on like the
Yeah,
terrain that they're
no
in.
way to find out. No way to find out. If you believe that natural medicine works, it's because of bacteria. You cannot deny the fact that bacteria is the one. You're saying there are good bacteria in it. How do you know? Like some of them are living in turmeric, others are living in ginger. That's not how it works, bro.
Yeah, because
Bacteria.
there are, of course, yes, there are different forms of bacteria. Yeah, there are some species of bacteria that are disease causing, detrimental. If you were to put it in a culture and drink it into water, you're going to go through a disease process. And then there are other types of bacteria that are beneficial and cause like things like probiotics and all kinds of things that have benefits. So yeah, that
But
is the case in my
then the
understanding.
thing is, you can never distinguish them. That's the thing, because all bacteria actually behave the same if you actually see them. It's just that when a bacteria is in an environment which is toxic, chemical laden or whatever, that is when you get disease, and that's because of the terrain that Bechamp actually proved, and he actually proved it. It's because of the terrain that the bacteria is in. It's not because the bacteria itself is actually having the property of causing disease. It's toxin. So
Again,
yeah, that is the
I
main.
just described the scenario. You've said that multiple times. I just described the scenario. If you're trying to claim that there's like a bacteria that's like feeding off like mercury or lead or some kind of toxin, yeah, that's a different topic. If the bacteria has like incorporated that or in some way into its system, but that's really not what's being discussed. The thing I brought up was in a laboratory, you're basically culturing a very specific strain of bacteria that can be, like I said, observed and identified to be that strain, to be that particular type. Just like there's different kinds of species and so on, there are different types of bacteria that actually have markers that delineate them, which is why they use certain names for these certain bacteria that are known, and then their disease effects are known. So like I was saying, if you were to culture that in a completely clean environment, it's not feeding off any toxins, it's not being exposed to glyphosate or mercury or aluminum or any heavy metals or anything like that, if it's done very clean. So that's really not the factor. We're talking about the actual clean, pharmaceutically pure, quote unquote, bacteria that's been cultured, as isolated as it can, to look at it in a microscope and see an abundance of it, and then to apply that to the human body. It definitely causes a direct disease process. If you want to assert or make an argument that that's all detoxifying you and that these things are all beneficial, I mean, I guess you could, if that's your
Sickness is,
thought on it.
and I answered, yeah, I said that sickness is not a disease in itself. It's just because you're getting sick, and that's not a disease. That's basically a body trying to remove it,
Yeah,
remove
it's
everything.
actually
That's
it's
actually
interesting because while you guys are like viewing this from different angles, one thinks that the bacteria is like the issue, the cause of sickness or what have you. And the other one thinks that like the bacteria is actually working to get the sickness out of you. Either way, you guys both would agree that disease is good because
Well, disease is
hold
not
up, hold
good.
up, let me
No, no, no,
finish.
no.
Let
Wait
me
a minute.
finish. Let me finish. So
Let me say
Well,
this.
let him finish,
Disease is
bro.
not
Let him
no,
finish, Tyler. We got to be fair, man. Let him
you guys
finish.
would both agree that disease is good because on Geo's end, you go through disease and you build up immunity and you're stronger for it. And on your end, Tyler, you're detoxed and you're healthier for it. After the
Wait a
disease.
minute. On mine, I'll just say this. I don't believe disease is good. Disease is an accumulation and a state in which you cannot do anything. But the sickness, the flu that you get is actually good because it's actually helping you remove the toxins that are there. That's it. Anyway, carry on.
Yeah, but that's what the disease
Yeah.
is. The sickness is disease. You're
Oh,
you're
not
no
really.
longer at
Not
ease.
really.
Your body's going through this struggle.